This is our copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. We're at the shop. There's some new online Bigfoot reports. Yeah, let's do a little reading and hang out a bit. Here we go. Short intro. Nice and cool. Yeah. How you doing, Tennessee? There's the audio. Hopefully it caught my little intro in the beginning. I dropped the copyright disclaimer. Yeah, this is our copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. If the algorithm didn't catch that. Oh my God, it's cooking out here still, folks. What up, P&W Rush? What is up, folks? Let's see. So we're gonna do some online reading of Bigfoot reports. Another disclaimer: you could believe them or not. You know, I like to read them. Maybe people take some information out of them. Maybe some people just like hearing me read. Ha! Probably not. You know, who knows? But I like reading them, and it's something I do even when I'm not live. So I figured, start doing these live. And I know some of you out there already have been doing stuff like this, and there is some new reports added to the BFRO just this morning. So might as well get them off, right? That's what we've been doing. What up, Garrel? Salute to you. Cheers, Roger. Hopefully everyone's doing well out there. And I was waiting up on over at Coley's UFO. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to call her to where.
Call the UFO to the office, please.
Yeah, we're hanging out over there waiting for almost like a half hour. And finally we got a little notification that said, oh, live in 2 hours. So a heads up, if you're gonna chill out and check out Colley's UFO and wondering what happened, it was scheduled for 3:30, but I guess 5:30 now. So I figured, all right, let's do this. I was going to do this a little earlier, but I got word that she was going to do her thing and has an interesting guest on tonight. Hopefully all that works out and I'll be chilling over there. And yeah, we're chilling in here, nice and cool in the shop, y'all. Look, let's have a look at the temperature. Let's do our weather report here. Oh my goodness. What's it looking like? Uh-oh. Trying to change the screens here. I hit some other button. There we go. There I am. Oh man. Dude, that's the third time already. I mute the damn intro. What the hell? So 93. We were up at 96 just like maybe like an hour or two ago, right, Tina C? We hit 96 today, but now we're starting to drop. Almost hitting 4 p.m. here, 3:55 on the West Coast. And you can see Death Valley there at 102. You know what? Speaking of Death Valley, look what I have in my reach. It's this little like a coffee table book. Death Valley. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Where are you, camera? Jeez. 360. I'm right here, bro. Right here. Can you see me? All right. We're not going to activate you. See, activated on its own. Now you're tracking me. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yep. I was at 97, says Tina C. Hopefully you're well hydrated. I'm sipping on these soursop juices. Bro actually bought me a few more. He went and did a market run. So we are stocked with refreshments here at the shop. And yeah, we just had some people from Central California come through, and the lady needed a restroom bad. And, you know, I was like, yeah, go for it. It's all good. And I think she was with her son, and her son ended up buying some things, was really digging the shop. So shout out to them. And hopefully they have a safe travel back to Central California. Yeah, we do get quite a bit of out of towners out here on the east side, man. It's cool. Chiro Sounds, Uncivil Engineer 1491, Digger Dog 6649. What's going on? Yeah, RIP Chuck Norris. I did share a post. Man, I can't believe it. And I did see someone, I think it was TMZ, and their headline was, I think they were interviewing his trainer or something like that. And it was, Chuck really enjoyed the memes. Because, you know, there was a lot of Chuck Norris memes out there. And I don't know, I just felt like Chuck seemed like a good dude. I never really heard anything bad from him. I don't think he was on that list, thank goodness. Hopefully not. And but yeah, man, it's just sad. We love Chuck out here. And yeah, all the online Chuck stuff was great, and I'm glad he enjoyed it. One movie I remember mom loved a lot, and I watched it with her as a youth, was Silent Rage. Anyone remember that one? Oh man, she loves that. I'm gonna have to bring that up. I think I texted her about it. Didn't get feedback yet, but I know we'll be talking about that at some point. Anyway, hopefully everyone's keeping cool out there, or maybe it's cool where you're at. But if you're in SoCal, go grab a cold coconut water. Yes, I. All right. Let's get right into it, folks. And then totally forgot to get into some wildlife stuff. There was some news on some wildlife, some bears up in Monrovia area here of Los Angeles. And it was some sad news, but there's some other wildlife good news. So I'll try and remember to bring that up. I wrote it down here. And let's go ahead and pull up these reports again. Hopefully, everyone's having a good start to their weekend. And we're going to go ahead and start off with the Bigfoot mapping project here. Boom. Yeah. And it looks, yeah, we've covered all these reports. But again, I've been, learning to really look through. If you see Vancouver here, there's a green. Is it a green hue, or like it just looks kind of greenish? It doesn't look completely orange to me. And so if you look at New York over here, there's a blue one, and when you zoom out, they blend in, and so you'll have a different color there. And you could probably already see some green over in Mali again over here. We'll get into that. That's the little glitch that happens here on the site. And Kitty Cattywhack, welcome on in. Yeah, happy first day of spring to you as well. And everybody else out there. So, looking at Vancouver, I noticed it looks a little off that orange, and dropping the squatch here, you really can't tell. So, still a heads up, people, when you look up at these reports, if you enjoy doing this, I don't know if anyone does, but I totally enjoy it here. Let's see. So, we'll click on that. And I don't think we read this. So we'll go ahead and read this. And this says 3/14/26, 3 a.m. and 6'4", it says. Damn. And a little thunder laugh there. And it says a male, and it did vocalize. So could we get some vocals, sir? Yes. Did it grunt or did it growl? I don't know. We'll go for the whoop there. And it says heard rustling in the brushes or in the bushes, and saw a large hairy man-shaped beast that was making strange sounds, kind of like Polish, right? But I'm certain it was a Bigfoot. Oh man. And it says, did you see any young? It says yes with parent, and it says color gray. So again, very short report, not too many details. So it makes you wonder how true it is. Someone took the time to mess with the website and get that in. I tried clicking around to see if any other reports would pop up, and nothing really happened there. So sometimes you might want to play with it. And again, sometimes reports will double up, will stack up on each other, or will sometimes pop up beside each other. And we've been noticing that, and it's all good. Excuse my groggy throat. Just had a sesh, and we should probably be getting ready for another one in about 18 minutes. You know what I mean. So, all right, zooming out of here, we're going to head on over to the continent of Africa. Yeah, for some reason, some of these reports, so you can see there's a fresh green one here. And if you haven't been following, for some reason, some of these reports have been popping up right in the same spot of Mali, but they're not African reports. So just a little heads up, and we're going to go ahead and read this and see what it says. I did take a little peek at it earlier. It says here female, so no date and time, no height. It did vocalize, and it says Bigfoot comes across my property every year, 2 times each year, once in the spring and one in the fall. I bought the property in 2011. My property has a unique location with big fresh water springs. Oh yeah, that's a big plus. Large deer and turkey population. Yep. Not to sound crazy, but there are other things that also have been seen on my property. Man, I wonder what. You seen strange balls of light? Seen other cryptids, maybe UFOs, UAPs? Makes me wonder. I don't think it says anything about it. I would speak about it to others, but not type on this page. It says also yes with parents, so that makes you wonder. And it says there's a little one around. There's a little more to read here. Let's check this out. It says I have had vocalizations, tree knocking, and talking. I mean, Bigfoot talking to each other in a family group. I'd have to explain to get my point across because it was so evident of what was actually going on. Between a mother and her child, I would very much like to tell my story to a person who runs this site. Email me and I'll send you my number. I'm 64 and don't like texting, to be honest, especially with a lot of details. It just takes it says too look long. So I don't know what they meant there. Too freaking long. Totally understandable. Hope you understand. Yes, understandable. Overstandable, understandable. And it says color black here. So yeah, it's understandable, right, folks? So hopefully they get that report in somehow. And yeah, it didn't give any details about where, but we're gonna skip on over here. Darn, I don't have the. Let me pull up the monitor so I could see the chat. Should have done that in the beginning. Anyone else come in here? Anyone else hanging out with us? All right, we're skipping on over to the BFRO. And I know maybe some of you aren't too happy with this site right now again, but it's all good. We're just looking at the information. And what's interesting, I'm like, whoa, what made them suddenly drop some reports this morning? What's the criteria for them to release some of these reports to the public, as we have learned about the flats, all the reports that aren't available to us, non-members and privileged ones. All right, I'm back in the chat. I can see y'all here. What up, Mike? We got Mike up in here. Boom. All right. So 4 new reports, it looks like. So we'll get into this first one here. It says June 2025. So last year. That's exciting. We like the fresh reports. But we don't knock older reports as well. We learn from those reports. I actually really dig older reports. So Georgia, there you go, Jessica. Bryan County, and it's a Class A late night sighting of a Sasquatch on Fort Stewart Army Base. So here we go with the Army Base theme. Y'all should be familiar with that. And I've heard of many reports actually from, I've heard of Fort Stewart before. Ooh, we got the crash unit pulling up. Whoop, whoop. That's Popos are outside, special gang unit. They drive in the typical black and white, LAPD, but they're all featured out now, they look like. And I don't know what the hell they're doing outside. They're across the street looking at someone. But they have no lights. And that's a special gang unit. Oh, it looks like they were harassing one of the local guys here, giving them a hard time. They drove off laughing. I'll have to ask that dude what they told him later. Probably won't be too happy about that. Anyway, lucky they let you go, bro. All right. It's going to be a little bit of reading here. Hang tight, pull out the popcorn. All right. It says summer. Feels like summer outside. June 6, 2023. So it's submitted. So I don't know. I'm confused here. It says year 2025. So maybe that's when it was submitted. Submitted by witness James Mahoney on Sunday, August 10th, 2025. And it says here June, summer, 6/20/23, Georgia, Bryan County. It's got some coordinates there. Richmond Hill, Georgia, nearest road 144. I was driving through the Fort Stewart base to get to a friend to meet up, and I come around the corner. We've talked about that. Those bends, always be careful around those bends. Could be wildlife, could be Sasquatch, could be something else, could be a boulder. You never know. On Highway 144, coming from Richmond Hill, and on my right side, I seen a figure ahead with my headlights pointing directly at him, walking to the right with a long stride between me and the telephone pole. Notes, telephone pole, power lines. And he turned his head to the right and looked at me straight in the eyes. And by that time, I would say, between 40 yards and closing in to, I'd say, about 30 feet before I passed. But we made eye contact. He never sped up or slowed down or stooped or anything, but he did not seem scared or nervous. It was my first experience with anything like this, but I feel like it was very close up. And since, where'd it go? Since then, I've been in the area generally looking a few occasions to try to listen. I met other people in the local area who have said that they hear it at night, but I know 100% sure that I seen it with my own eyes, about 7.5 feet tall, walking to the right, and my motorcycle lights pointed straight at them. And I wonder why it says them. Maybe you see more than one. And we made eye contact as I was passing, which ended up being close to 30 feet away to my right. I was reluctant to talk to anyone about it just because of the subject matter. But here recently, whenever I was reading about other people's experience in the area, made me feel comfortable about talking about it. Wow. It's all right. Got a squatch in the headlights there. And no other witnesses Didn't notice anything else. And there are some other stories from the area. It says after the sighting, I started doing research in the area. I found that it is very near the one that the soldier on Fort Stewart, that's probably one of the reports that I remember, with the thermal imaging. That was a recent one, if I'm not mistaken. Saw one walk across a path, and I also have a client of mine that that spoke to me in person about seeing and hearing them near the Morgan Bridge on Highway 204, which is within a radius of 10 miles. Time and conditions, it was around 1 a.m. in the morning, and my motorcycle lights pointed directly at him when I came around a curve. He was between me and a light pole on the side of the road on Fort Stewart Base, Highway 144. Environment is heavy wooded area, swampy on side of the roads in the area, huge amounts of wooded acres in the vicinity. The side of the road is cleared for power lines, and it was between the road and wood line on the side of the road where I saw the huge creature. Oof. Interesting. Very interesting. So there's a follow up investigation by BFRO investigator Wayne Tillett, I believe. And you could check that out if you're interested. So heading on back, let's see. Can we bump back here? Yes, we could. Let me take a look at the chat. Who else is up in here? What's up, y'all? Uncivil Engineer 1491 says if Bigfoot can mind communicate, or some can, then I wonder why speaking actual words is something they would want to do. It makes sense in ways, maybe to be calming if they are friendly. Ha. Yeah, that's a good point, right? Good one, good one, good one. I like that. And again, we're on duty here on the shop. So if I do get a customer, we will default to live stream. Actually, we're going to be pulling up the High Sierra live feed from Yosemite National Park. And hopefully we won't need to do that. And it looks like another, let's see, this one's Prince of, so this is British Columbia. So May 2025. British Columbia, this is a Class B, possible Sasquatch vocals at oh, 80 miles west of Prince George. Ooh, quite a bit of reading here. Let's try and pull it off. It says submitted by witness Lou Jovanovich on Thursday, March 19th, 2026. It says year 2025. Spring, May was the month. British Columbia, Canada. Some GPS coordinates there. Fraser Lake, British Columbia. Nearest road, Highway 16, Alaska Highway. Is that part of the Bigfoot Highway, I wonder? Someone let me know. I think it might be. It says observe the wife and I moving to Washington State from Alaska, and we decided to drive and camp the whole way down the Alaska Highway. Awesome. Yep. Awesome road trip. Yep. It says there. By the way, if you ever get the chance, wow. I would, yeah, right. We've done a good amount of hiking. I wouldn't call us wilderness experts, but we definitely been in the woods a good amount. Not to say it's not possible for us to misinterpret things, though. It absolutely is, especially when you're in the woods for a long time or when you're tired and up at night. We were coming from, or we were coming upon Fraser Lake in Oregon, British Columbia, and stayed at the Peterson Beach recreation site on the lake there. The first weekend it was open for camping in May. Beautiful day, sunny, a little chilly, but all in all, it was dry and beautiful. We got there around noon, got everything set up, and decided to do a little hike on the trail opposite to the campground. We got about an hour in, found the river, took a couple pictures, and turned around. Within 10 minutes, as our side trail reached the main trail, I saw a large black shape moving through the woods out of the corner of my eye, and I told my wife to stop. This wasn't a Bigfoot, it was a big old black bear. I had my bear spray ready because this was by far the biggest bear I have ever seen in the woods. Though admittedly, it was only the third bear I had seen in person in the woods. And luckily, he had heard us coming because we were making lots of noise. And it seemed like he was just wanting to get on his way. He jogged away. I guess bears jog. Hold on. Hold up. He jogged away on 2 feet or 4 feet. What the hell's going on here? Yogi. Needless to say, seeing him gave us both a bit of an adrenaline rush for the next couple of hours, and it was hard for me to sleep in our tent that night because my wife was pregnant at the time. Oh no. Yeah, that puts a whole other dynamic to all this road trip and doing anything, huh? And hey, we had just seen a bear. When we got back to the campground, we noticed we were still the only ones at the campground, which was nice. Yep. But it also meant that if a bear was interested in a tent, well, we're the only game in town. Uh-oh. Anyway, I ended up staying up until about 2 a.m. at that night. And all night I heard owls, wolves, and other familiar nighttime creatures all night and multiple times through the night. Around 1 a.m., though, I heard something different. I heard about a dozen sounds, 1 to 2 seconds apart, that I only heard once that night. In that stir of about a dozen instances, the closest way I could describe it was a whoop sound like this. And I didn't hear anything close to that the rest of the night. I grew up watching Bigfoot shows and have never been a true believer, but I always found the topic fascinating. As a result, the first thing my mind went to was Sasquatch. And I have to say, these did sound kind of primate like. Was it my perception shifting? It combined with my biases? Question mark. I honestly don't know. It's very possible. But what I do know is that I spent the next couple of months looking up different animal calls, trying to find a reasonable explanation for what I heard. And I still don't have a good explanation for what I heard. Maybe somebody was doing a rogue Bigfoot expedition that night in May 2025 around Fraser Lake in British Columbia. Yeah, maybe someone call blasting out there. The squatchers be out there doing stuff like that. Never know. I reached out to the BFRO and they don't know of any. Did I record these? Question mark. Unfortunately, no, which I admit is extremely convenient for anyone who is skeptical of what I'm writing. Why I didn't record these, for one, I have never heard anything like this before. I don't know if something was going to come closer to our tent. And all of this combined with my earlier adrenaline rush from seeing the bear on the trail sort of paralyzed me. And I was a lot more confused on potentially trying to protect my pregnant wife rather than record these strange sounds. Word up. Once again, very, very understandable. And it says, on top of that, my phone was dying. Oh, no. The dying phone, no, which doesn't really help either. Yeah, that could get one of these. The dying phone. Maybe somebody else has a good explanation for what I heard that night. I would really like to get to the bottom of this, but so far, all I have is questions still. So there it is. Other witnesses, none. My wife was asleep the whole time, of course. That happens a lot. One partner hears it, and the other one's getting that good sleep. We left before the camp host woke up. Wow, that must have been really early. Let's get the heck out of here. Time and conditions 1 a.m., slightly chilly and clear environment. Peterson's speech recreation site, campsite very close to the lake. So there you go. British Columbia report. Ozzy Sue, what's up? Glad you're here. How's the future looking for us? Hopefully it's looking better. Muschetti. SoCal Squatcher, what's going on? Cheers, everybody. Hope Gustavo, salud. Hopefully you're having a good start to the weekend. Ojalá que I was going to try to tell Gustavo, wish him a great start to his weekend. I could do it. Ojalá que tu fin de semana esté comenzando bien, Gustavo. Y saca las empanadas. Where are the empanadas for the chat, Gustavo? Where's the chimichurri, bro? All right, here's the third report. October 2006, Iowa. Got to call Jeremiah Byron to the office for this one. Clinton County Class A nighttime sighting of fishermen on. All right, this is a tough one. Wapsipnicon River, 11 miles southwest of Clinton. Let's check it out. Oof. Another heavy one. Let's see. Let's roll back here right quick. All right, looks like another one from Carter Bouchard. There, we had read another one of his reports. All right, let's head on over here. So let's 2006 fall, October 22nd, 2006, Iowa, Clinton County. Investigator Eminem notes the Squatch was seen on the bank of the Wapsipnicon. Wasipnicon. Come on, say it with me. Wasipnicon. Am I saying it right? Wasipnicon. Oh, damn. That's a tough one. Nearest town, Follets, Highway 67, observed. My encounter occurred on October 22nd, 2006, along the Wasipnicon River, just outside of Follets, Iowa. Follets, Iowa is located south of Comanche, Iowa on Highway 67. If you continue to travel south on that road, south of Follets, approximately 1 mile, the road crosses over to the Wasipsicon River. People in this area commonly refer to it as the Wapsie. Yeah, okay, I could do that. Y'all do the Wapsie. Do the Wapsie up in the chat. Immediately after you cross the bridge, you can access, my accent was kicking in there. You can access the shoreline along the river by foot on both sides of the bridge. I experienced this sighting about 2 miles from the bridge to the west of it. I frequently fish right on the river in about the same location several times a year, but mainly in, I wonder what you're fishing for there. Oh, okay. But mainly in the fall season as catfish tend to be more active. We can catch quite a few of them during the nighttime hours due to lower temperatures during this time of year. We lit a fire near the shoreline to keep warm and help us see our fishing poles. That day we traveled, clear my throat. That day we traveled from my home in Comanche down to the Wapsi and parked the truck along the road on the gravel siding. We arrived about a half hour prior to sunset so we could get our fishing spot while we still had some light to see. We had fishing flashlights, but only intended on using them when we left that spot later in the evening. We unloaded all our fishing gear and traveled along the river to our fishing spot. We immediately gathered some wood and started a fire. The temperature was cold, about 35 degrees, brr, and the warmth of the fire was quite soothing. We set a few shoreline hopping to catch some catfish. Oh, hoping, sorry. We set a few shorelines hoping to catch some catfish that would probably be trolling near the shore after dark gathering food. We then cast our poles and attached bells. Yep, we could do that. We got a fish. We got a fish. Yeah. Now I lost my spot. Let's see. Where are the bells at? The part of the bells to the end of the rods to alert us in case we got a bite. We settled near the fire and talked about fishing and camping. Cool. Love that. You know, I'd have to bring up the Sasquatch at some point. It wasn't abnormal to hear animals wandering about along the shoreline or on the tree line as raccoons, beavers, possums, and other small species of animals found an abundant food source along this river. However, the noise that I heard from across the river was not normal. Again, you know, just like the previous report, it sounded like a larger animal or perhaps another person looking for a good fishing spot. Maybe Squatch trying to cop a fishing spot. Hey, and don't forget to leave a fish for Sasquatch. It seems that the other two people that were with me did not hear the noise as clearly as I had. When I asked them if they had heard the same noise, they said they didn't. Standing near the fire probably obscured my night vision, so I moved away from the fire to see if I could identify whatever was making the noise. The moon was out, but there were a lot of clouds in the sky that allowed one to see shapes, but not clear images of objects further than 10 feet away. The river at this location is about 100 feet across. It looked I looked across the river to the location where I thought I had heard the noise and noticed a figure that was really huge. And again, excuse my reading. I get caught up here. Bro, what time is it? 4:30. It's past 4:30. Cheers to anyone who took their break. So the figure was large. I would venture to say it exceeded 7 feet in height and it probably weighed well over 300 pounds. I am not sure if the creature saw me, but it continued to move around in the same area as it were foraging for food. I would say I was probably more intrigued than scared, and I had to tell the other two guys that were with me. They were still near the fire, so I went back over to where they were standing, told them what I saw, and grabbed the flashlight. We walked back to where I was standing. I described what I saw and I left the flashlight off. I told them I wanted to surprise it and let them get a glimpse at the same time. I turned the flashlight on and pointed it towards the area where I had seen the figure. The light hit the figure, and I saw what appeared to be a very hairy creature. As soon as the light flashed on it, Rewind. As soon as the light flashed on it, it disappeared into the woods. Both my brother and my friend said that someone was playing a trick on us. I told them that I thought it was Bigfoot. They both walked back to the fire and dismissed the sighting. I continued to scan the area with the flashlight, hoping to see the creature again, but it never reappeared. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but it was well past sunset. We remained there until about 2 a.m. the next morning. During the entire time, I never heard any other uh, usual, says any other usual noises, such as animals prowling about. I considered going back the next day to see if I could find any tracks on the side of the river, but it is inaccessible unless you travel by boat. I tried to describe this as well as I could. Sorry, I messed it up for you, bro, a few times. If you have any questions, please let me know. As I said previously, I want this story to be told. Well, you got it told here over at the NorCal, Southern Oregon Bigfoot Project. Yeah, we're in SoCal too. We're all over Cali, baby. Other witnesses, yes. And it says other stories. Yes, there are many incidences that have occurred in this same area for years, it says, going back to the 60s and 70s. Time and conditions was night, cold, and misty. Environment, this is a farming community, and the main staple is corn. Corn man. And other grain products. There are quite a few fruit bearing trees nearby the river, mainly apple. We've heard Bigfoot likes apples. And pear trees. Ooh, nice. All right. So there's our third report of the day. Yeah, and it's cool that they released this to us so we could check this out, see what's going on around the states here with possible Bigfoot activity. So this one's a lot shorter, thank goodness. And with researcher Carter Bouchard. Some of you may be familiar with him out there. Maybe you've seen him on several podcasts. And it says here, and actually, I didn't read off the report numbers on those other ones. Meh. Sorry about that. So this one's report 79792, Class A, submitted by witness Stephen Archie Sexton on Thursday, February 12th, 2026. Fisherman sees a Sasquatch while fishing at Lake or Clinton Lake, 19 miles southeast of Topeka. 2025, fall, September 13th, Kansas, Douglas County. So we had read one, I think, recently. So this might be another one from that particular area. And I'll have to go back. Let's see. Let's run it back right quick because I think we could see that. We got a Douglas County here. Nope. Maybe not. Oh, well. I'll have to look later, but let's get into this one. It says here, Topeka, Kansas, take I-70 southeast to 40 Highway, then south to Clinton Lake. Look for the Bloomington East Courtesy Fishing Dock. Yeah, this sounds very familiar. Very familiar. Might be the same report. Heads up here. I'll have to dig and see. So Clinton, and there are the roads again. K and 10. It says, observed me and my friend were fishing at Clinton Lake near Topeka, Kansas. It was around dusk, and after a while, we had made some. Yeah, this sounds really familiar. I think we had read this already. I'm going to say yes, we read this. All right. So let's get into this, some other wildlife news. All right. Thank you to BFRO and the Bigfoot Mapping Project. Boom. There we go. There's the Friday reports for y'all. And sorry, I was doing quite a bit of reading. I have not been caught up with the chat here. What up, Jessica Jones? We read a report out of Georgia, Bryan County. So check that out. You might be interested in it. Maybe you'll be maybe you should know. You probably know a whole lot more since you be doing the conferences and everything out there. You're really tapped in out there. And I know you do like looking at these. You've been pulling up the BFRO reports also, and I know you like looking at them as well. So I'm sure you'll be digging into those. And you've had Carter Bouchard on, I believe, right? I think I've seen him on there. Let's see. Oh, Grunions. Thank you for that. Someone just and I won't say who it was, just in case. I don't know if you'd like to hear a shout out, but thank you for that. We're gonna have the Grunion run. Y'all know those little fish, right? They come to shore. I wonder if Sasquatch would come out and hit the Grunion. Anyway, yeah, they come to shore and they like I don't know. I guess they do their what are they mating or something? Mom always wanted to take us to check out the Grunion. I don't think we ever made it to do that, but I think my brother's been out to see it. I know he's been out to see the bioluminescent waves and stuff. What is that? Like some sort of weird, some trippy algae. I missed out on that. That would have been groovy, especially with them eyes. He'd be staring at them waves for a few hours. Um, yeah, appreciate that. What else? There is before we leave Bigfoot, shout out to Lane County Bigfooters on YouTube. She's been finding some amazing footprints, which reminded me a lot of the tracks that I found in Southern Oregon. I featured her channel, and I had to send some I sent some links to her, and I was like, check these out. You're looking. She's describing where she's finding these tracks, and I found these tracks in the same area in a different part of Oregon, and because she's in Oregon also, and I'm like, trip out on that. And yeah, there's water involved. And actually, the where I found mine, it was a structure, a little teepee structure that I found right next to a berry bush that had a little trail behind it. Blah 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 blah. That. But anyway, Lane County took a look at the tracks that I found there, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, they're like mine." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I'm sending you the links." I was like, "Cheers, super super interesting and cool." All right, we got heads up. We got a customer. How you doing, bro? Good. How could I help you? Bloom, no, sir. Clear only. Clear only. Only the clear flavor. Give me 1 second. I'll show you. All right. Yeah, you can leave it on the table, bro. I'll take it. All right. Is it working? All right. Cool. All right. Taking care of a customer here. Give me 1 second. Too bad there were no visuals to this. Let's see. I was trying to pull this up. Boom. All right, here's a little view. And what happened to the audio? Little view of Jackie. I believe that's her. If it's not her, that's a daddy. Shadow, I believe, is his name. Is that Pop's name? This is a view at the Big Bear Eagle Cam. And darn it, I lost it. Here, let me pull up the chat. There's the chat. Woo, I'm starting to panic a little bit. Anyway, that transaction went smooth. Taking care of business. Back to this other business now. Yeah, I don't see the eggs. Hopefully, I think we're back to 2 eggs. We had lost, I believe, 2 eggs. Jackie had laid 2 eggs, but then we had reported that she had laid because those 2 eggs were lost to some ravens. Darn ravens. But she was able to lay 2 more. And yeah, I'm sure it's a nice warm day out there. Those eggs are nice and hot. Yeah, hopefully we get some new eaglets out here. We need more of them. And a beautiful view of Big Bear Lake there. Richard Minnick, what up? Totally missing out on the chat, staying focused. All right, we got the reports in. A little view of Jackie here. And then we're going to get into some other local wildlife reports. There we go. I had to press play.
Bruh.
The waters are getting choppy on the stream here. All right. Let's get a little eagle time. Let the eagles score. And then we're going to get into more SoCal wildlife news. The interesting thing says maybe we see Sasquatch over in that cove by the tree. Yeah, you never know. Might see a Sasquatch taking a dip.
Giro Sounds. Happy Earth Strong. Laser. Happy Earth Strong. Yeah, man.
I was gonna say, yeah, man, that's how the Rastaman says it. Happy Earth Strong. Happy birthday. Who else's birthday? You know what? Let's get Granny's birthday off too. Happy birthday, Granny. Love you. We're gonna be celebrating her birthday coming up here soon. So before I forget, yes. May God bless you all with many more years. And it's been a fun ride. All right, let's get into the wildlife news. 1 second. Let's pull it up. Let's see. Boom. We're going to hop on over to my channel right quick because I do believe I shared it. Where are the posts? Boom. Let's see here. Oh, maybe I didn't share it. Darn, is it in the history? Uh-oh. Y'all get to see my history here. Let's see, where do you go? Come on, little kitty. No, it's got to be in the post. Hang on. Somewhere here. Right here. I missed it. Silly.
This baby
All
mount.
right. Local news. Here's CBS Los Angeles. And we had talked about this. I don't think we had brought it, like showed the newsreel. I may have. And so this is a baby mountain lion that was found out here, and it wasn't doing too good. And we've talked about a lot of the mountain lions that have been hit out here in Southern California in the past few years. The 405 freeway. We've talked about the new overpass that they've built for wildlife and stuff. So we've been going in on this, and we talked about the P22, how P22 passed away. And if you don't know P22, look up P22 mountain lion. It's a star. Was a local celebrity here. And so this little guy was in trouble, and we got an update.
This baby mountain lion cub, found in January in the middle of a Castaic street, is getting state-of-the-art care in Northern California. The little cub is also learning to socialize during her rehabilitation.
Kitty Cattywhack, do we have another birthday here? What's going on? Happy birthday, Moon. Am I reading things right? Woo. It's a party this Friday up in the shop. What's going on, folks? Bust out the cake and oh man. All right, back to the kitty.
And in a story you will only see on CBS LA's Hunter Sowers is here with more on the people caring for this cub.
Yeah, Pat, we love this story, and a big thank you to Sonoma Wildlife Center. They have really been the ones that have stepped me through and updated me on all of the progress.
Sonoma, that's a Digger Dog. Digger Dog could go check out the kitty.
Cat, as they call her, has made these last several months. She's actually has a new friend, a fellow orphaned cub from the Central Coast. It's actually the first time two cubs not related are being rehabilitated in the same enclosure at this facility.
An update tonight on the cub that captured the hearts of many, caught sitting in the middle of a busy Castaic road. Before running into someone's front yard.
Hey, they got the mountain lion. You want to see it?
And eventually being caught by CDFW.
So when I heard the story break about this cat and saw the news media of it sitting in the center divide with traffic going by it, I mean, I saw more than maybe most people. I saw the terror in its eyes.
That's Doris Duncan. She's the executive director of Sonoma Wildlife Rescue. Her team tapped to take in and care for the cub when efforts to reunite her with her mom failed.
And then when I found out we were getting the cat, I was just, okay, team, it's happening. The kitty's coming our way. Let's get ready.
That team included Assistant Animal Care Director Katie Woolery, who meticulously prepped this space into a dense, forested home for the cub.
Nice.
It's really amazing now. In the few years that we've been doing these big predators, the rate that we can mobilize people and get these enclosures ready.
She arrived in late January. Exclusive video here shows her first days getting used to her new temporary home, finding her voice, and eventually finding an unlikely friend. That's because around the same time she was rescued, another cub in San Luis Obispo was orphaned and needed a place to go. It took weeks to acclimate the two and eventually begin introducing them.
One was really aloof, kind of like girls in high school. Like, let's just pretend one was in junior high and the other was in high school. And the junior high one wanted to go play with the really cool one in high school, and she's like really aloof, like, no, I don't have time for you.
But then something changed. A surprise, because mountain lion cubs are not usually rehabilitated in the same enclosure unless they're siblings.
And to see that one of them grooming, it was basically the stuck-up girl was grooming the little needy, grovelly girl. And I was like, yes, they've made it.
The two still have progress to make, like learning how to fend for themselves before they can successfully be released back into the wild.
Just kind of leaving them to their own devices and having them try and figure out what they're going to do once they're out there.
And aren't they sweet? The team speaking to us in hopes of educating the public about this process. Again, this is going to be the first time they'll be able to study the behavior of non-sibling cubs growing up together. They plan to keep us updated on all of the progress, but Pat, it doesn't get any cuter than that.
Okay, that's Danny, folks.
Danny agrees.
Okay, but you know what? I love her analogy.
I know.
No, the junior high school girl and the high
We
school
can all
girl,
picture
the
it.
Sadiddy, and but then they come
They
together.
do. They do.
Well, it's so very, very important. So glad that little cub was saved, and
too.
look at what's happening.
It's going to be a good one.
Little adopted family.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll keep following it for you.
Thanks for sharing
Thanks,
that, Hunter.
There that is. So there's your wildlife report. That was a good one. And so the mother bear, there's another case where a mother bear was under a house and they evicted her and euthanized her. So that was a bummer, but this is a good bounce to that wildlife segment. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. And we're going to head up out of here. I appreciate everyone stopping by, spending some time with us. We're about an hour in. We're going to go ahead and hit our outro here. We got the homie up in the shop. We'll go chop it up with him. And y'all stay cool, stay hydrated, and we are out, folks. Gotta press play, sucker.